Hey guys, so question, is it illegal to threaten somebody here in Ghana? Let's talk about that when I return on the Eric McNeil Be Free Show.
Black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Hey guys, welcome. You've just discovered the Eric McNeil Be Free Show, where it's all about being financially independent, responsible for self, enjoying life, and empowering others free. So today we're going to talk about the question of whether or not it is illegal to threaten somebody here in Ghana. And if you saw my previous video, you know that I spoke about this whole Juju thing, and you know, my friend and partner Brandon and his wife losing their child. So you got a lot of outpouring, you know, we appreciate that, the support that has been shown to, extended to the family and around the project that we're doing. So we definitely, you know, appreciate the kind words. You know, we can use all the prayer that we can get. I believe in a higher power. I'm not one who gets so emotionally disturbed by the talks of Juju and things like that, but I'm cautious, right? And I take any threats of death, whether real or imagined, seriously, right? As simple as that. But I don't change my life. I don't live in a state of fear. You know, because I do believe in a higher power, and I have somewhat of common sense behind me. So, but at any rate, the gentleman who is involved in this was detained by the Ghana police, and like I said, you know, if somebody shows remorse, that's the first sign that they're seeking some type of forgiveness and they're sincere when they show remorse. And so as usual, what happens in Ghana is when somebody does something wrong, the entire, and they're caught in the crosshairs, if you will, the entire family and friends come out to beg for them. Oh, please, please. So just like clockwork, it happened. You know, I received calls, and then when Brandon got to the police station yesterday, you know, he's confronted with all the family begging and, you know, please, please, please. And my thing is that if you're going to engage in this activity, why not first go to your relative who has been accused of doing this stuff and talk to him to see if he actually did it, you know, because a lot of times what happens is they know the person is guilty, but they're still begging. They didn't go to the relative and say, hey, you should admit. At the very least, you go there and you admit your guilt. Go and admit that you were guilty to these people, and you apologize to these people, and you apologize, and you throw yourself on the mercy of the court, and you don't go in there lying to the chief of police. You tell the truth. This is what I want to hear. You know, I want to hear that gentleman come out and say, hey, I was wrong. You know, I was angry at Brandon. I was angry and I made some outbursts. I'm guilty of, you know, maybe not necessarily doing Juju even. You know, at the very least, I was guilty of those words, of that threat that I made, you know, because too many people overheard it. You know, you have some 4 or 5 people who have written statements saying it happened, and you still not admitting to it? No. So so now when you come to me calling me asking me, oh, you should just forget about it and drop. No, 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 we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, you know, because there has to be some type of remorse shown in this whole situation. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. Those words of, oh, please forgive them, they don't mean anything. They're just trying to get off on something. So I'm sorry, you know, that we're not going to go down that road. We're still going to pursue the guy. The judge has given him 100,000 Ghana cities bail, you know. So basically in the U.S. the way that it works is if the judge says, okay, $100,000 bail, then somebody has to put up like 10% of that, and you know, that somebody is responsible for you in case you jump, you know, you skip bail, you go missing. Here, I understand that it doesn't work the same. So when the judge said, okay, it's 100,000 Ghana cities, then the only thing that was required was for like two people who they deemed to be responsible, like property owners, come sign for you. But they don't have to put any of the monies up. So he was able to make bail yesterday. So, you know, we don't know who put up the, you know, who signed for him, but he was able to make bail, and now the court date has been set to about a week. I believe it's November the 17th is when the court date will be. So he has to be there for this court date, and that's where we will decide. So he has his, I don't know, his appointed attorney, and then for our side we have a prosecutor. And so we will go through and see what happens. And what happens, happens. You know, we have made it clear of our stance on this issue, and moving forward, it serves as an example for those people who believe that they can be careless and make these idle threats, whether it be through Juju, whether it be in the church, whether it come from the pastor, all around. See, when I'm talking to you, know, you might hear me talking about Juju because that's the main thing involved in this case. But understand this, that I mean through any type of these systems, the spirituality systems. So it's irrelevant which one it is. It's relevant to, you know, I'm just saying that if a death threat is made, then you are on notice, period. And a death threat was indeed made. And I believe that the prosecutor has enough evidence to prove that. So we will see. You know, we've done our job in bringing it to the forefront. Now it's up to the court system. And I'm not really, you know, because I've gotten a lot of comments about, well, you guys can't really connect whether the baby was caused, you know, death was caused by the man, threats, you can't really connect that, so, you know, you're not going to be able to, listen, I don't care about any of that. You may hear me on the videos talking about that because the subject matter revolves around that, but let me help you to understand how the law works. That there's a lot of laws on the book, buddy. And when we go to court, there's not going to necessarily be whether this Juju caused that baby's death. That's not the discussion. The discussion is whether you broke any laws. And I'm sorry, buddy, but yes, he did break some laws, and we're going to discuss that. Yes, we are. So you say, well, how do you prosecute this, and how do you know what laws did he break? Well, let me bring your attention to Ghana's Criminal Offenses Act of 1960, which highlights a lot of laws, buddy, and there's a couple in particular that this gentleman broke, in our opinion. The first is Section 74, which discusses the threat of harm. And let's see what Section 74 of the 1960 Criminal Code Act says. Well, it says, whoever threatens any other person with unlawful harm, with intent to put that person in fear of unlawful harm, shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. I think a threat of harm was made. But it doesn't stop there. Nope. There's another law that says, and that's Section 75, the threat of death. Well, that was a death threat made. We got at least, I think it was 4 or 5 witnesses who have written statements overhearing the death threat. Now, what does Section 75, the threat of death, say under this law? It says, whoever threatens any other person with death, with intent to put that person in fear of death, is guilty of a second-degree felony. I want you to hear what I just said. Making a death threat upon somebody's life here is a felony, a second-degree felony. What does that carry? My research, that can carry up to 10 years of imprisonment. A second-degree felony. So I don't need to connect this to anything Juju. Huh? I want you to understand that. Right? So you might hear me discussing the Juju and this, that, and the other on the video in the court. We're discussing the law, buddy. We're talking about the law. And the law clearly states that making a death threat is a criminal offense. It carries a hefty penalty. And everything else is irrelevant. Prosecutor doesn't even need to go down the road of talking about Juju and whether the baby's death was connected. It doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. The only thing that matters is the law that was broken in this case. All right? You made a death threat. So, for those of you who go around, like I say, whether it be through Juju, whether it be in the church. I've been in the churches, and the preachers having them do chants. I've been in the church preacher having them do chants. Kill my enemy. Kill my enemy. You better be very careful. Better be very careful. Well, what's your enemy? You know, y'all go as far as to name the enemy. Who the enemy? Oh, it's Kwaku George. Okay, you chant, kill Kwaku George. Kill Kwaku George. Kill Kwaku George. Huh? And now you let something happen to Kwaku George. You come out of church and the next day you hear something that happened to Kwaku George. You got a whole church that overheard you talking about, kill Kwaku George. Okay, that was a death threat. We're gonna put you right in prison for that. So you and the preacher, whoever else of that chatting talking about kill Kwaku George, y'all going right to prison. So you better be careful. Yep, very careful. So that's all I'm saying, is that there is a law on the books. It is a punishable offense to make a death threat in Ghana, and if you are engaging in this activity through your church, or if you're engaging in it through your voodoo, or your juju, or your shrine, or your magic, or your whatever you want to call it, you better be very careful about who overhears it. If you're going to do your sinister work, you better do it in private. You better do it in private, because if people get wind of it, then you may be in the crosshairs and at odds, find yourself at odds with the law. So this is the message to all of you that think you can just get away with this foolishness and not have to be held accountable. Well, the law, there is a law in the books that can hold you accountable. And, I don't like to see a lot of laws in society, but sometimes, some laws are necessary for order and for maintaining peace. And I believe that this is one that, I can get behind, as, this whole thing about a death threat. So at any rate, like I said, it's kind of out of our hands now, I'm sure Brandon and his wife will likely be at the court next week, and, as will I, and we'll go through the motions, and, various witnesses will testify as to what they heard. And it's left up to the judge at that point, out of our hands, So we just hope that they do the right thing. And, we are back at work trying to get through our project. And, and this is, a distraction that, we had to deal with. But, we won't put too much energy and time into it. But we hope that this sends a message to people that, such won't be tolerated. There are consequences for your actions. Well, if you like what we're talking about, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, like, share, give me your comments, let me know your feedback. And you can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Eric McNeil is free. And as always, oorah ahuru. Now be free.